Welcome back to the open agenda of the special board meeting of March 12th. Mr. Robbins, if you will get us on track.
You betcha, Chair. Rising out of the closed session, the minutes will reflect a couple of items that the board is rising on. The one item that was referred to the closed session is now being brought back to the open session. That is SR2, the report from Recycling and Waste Management Division with regards to garbage tipping fee consideration.
Thank you very much. And with that, we will resume that discussion, I believe. So if you'll recall, this was brought into closed for some consideration on some of the points that were deemed to be out of order in the motion that was put forward. And I see Director Martman is on my list, so he may have something to accommodate us in furthering this discussion.
Thank you, Chair. Doing a fabulous job, by the way. And I'd like to thank everybody for their patience as we sort of wind through this, and I know this is the continuation of many, many, many discussions. And I do have a motion in mind, and I've talked to staff. I know there's pros and cons to things, but I think where I'm coming from is more around the timing. We're 2.5 months into 5 months of that lag before Three Stream rolls out, which is in June. And my community, they even gave me a petition of almost 100 people about how difficult this is for them to accept. And I just can't reiterate. I think staff here would probably tell you just how many questions they had and how many comments they had last Friday about this issue on a Friday night if it had maximum capacity. So, and maybe I bit off too much to chew in the first one by saying, hey, I want to try to do a regional kind of motion. So I'm going to make this next motion about Area H. And I guess I really want to speak to the timing, because no matter what you do, the whole point of a voucher, or the whole point of putting something in place is to have it before Three Stream rolls out. That's from my perspective and from my community's perspective. I even had one offer to drop his garbage off between now and then at Ingram Street, which I said, please don't. And so with that in mind, I also heard from others about, how simple, can we keep this simple, keep the costs down? And also, I hear from staff, there has to be limits. So you have to keep this so it's not going to be overly, you're allowing so much to waste to come, to one place. So, and because it's at Peerless, there's no additional staff needed. This is what we do already. One little piece of information for people, it's about a 40-minute round trip for me to go to Peerless. I'm an average, so it can range from about 10 or 15 minutes for the closest people up to over an hour round trip for some. So it's, for the most people, it's going to take a while. So in terms of people doing repeat use of it, generally you're not going to do a repeat 40-minute drive. So we typically go once a month, speaking for myself. So with all those things considered, what I'd like to put forward, if I have a seconder, I'll maybe speak a bit more to it, just move that for a very close time period from the time that staff can, I don't know if this is the best way to put it, but from the time that staff can move forward with implementing until June 1st, 2025, so there's very clear bookends, it's before Three Stream starts, that household garbage tipping fees for up to 32 kilograms, which is typically the one bag amount, be waived for households in Area H at Peerless Road only facility, and any added cost to Function 520 to be reimbursed from Function 515. So if I have a seconder, I would speak a bit more to it.
Do I have a seconder for that motion? I do have a seconder. You can carry on with some comments.
Yeah, I think we're just coming around full circle on this. I think, Director Morrison said at the very beginning, let's just keep this simple. And I think Director Acton said the same thing. We're not talking about a huge number of households. Area H has 1,124 households. The usage of this isn't going to be every household. You know, it's going to be the ones, again, I speak to the ones that really can use this additional, you know, benefit for them for the short period that it be. So we're maybe, if we're lucky, we'll get this going in April. We'll have 2 months, and that'll be it. I look forward to your support. It is a big Area H issue. They have really been trying to understand and fathom all the numbers, and staff were great in trying to explain it to them. But in the end, this is something that Area H goes, we could use some help on, and it's a couple of months. So I'll leave that to others to speak. Thanks.
Director Wilson, I have you next. Is it to the motion or something else? Just wait till I hit you.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it is, but I have a question. This is specific for Area H. It doesn't include Area A, B, and C.
Correct. We were dealing with this motion first, so I'll come back to you if there's
Thank you.
something else.
Yep.
So once you turn off, put it back on so I know you're in the queue. Director Ishdash.
Just for clarity from Director Martin, was voucher or no voucher, and how many a month? I didn't hear those in there. You gave a weight limit, but you didn't say how many times a month, and if it was a voucher or honor system.
Right, it's the honor system, and I think about it much like when I first learned in Switzerland, and you hop on a bus and you don't have to show a ticket. But if someone asks you for that ticket, you have to demonstrate that you have it, so it would be the same, in my mind. Staff can maybe come up with another one, but every so often, they're gonna ask for someone to validate. And I think that that's the honor system. I would love to do a voucher, but I don't see a voucher, and staff can't really guarantee vouchers happening much before the next 4 to 6 weeks. So by then, you're just pushing into June 1st. So I feel, you know, if I could do a voucher system, I would put that forward, but just not, in my mind, going to be practical for the community.
Any input from staff on that?
Thank you for the question. If this is what we're considering, as staff, we would strongly support a voucher system because it would sort of define the financial liability that we're potentially carrying. It would help our scale staff. They would just collect the vouchers. It would quick for them. They would minimize the lineups. And yeah, we on the tech side would work as quickly as possible with our printers to get the vouchers, including having specific criteria for the conditions printed on the vouchers, just to make it really clear.
Mr. Mooney, anything from your point?
Thank you, through the chair. Yeah, just to add to Ms. Saherty's comments, that certainly as staff, we support the voucher system to minimize the cost risk. If it was the honor system, you do run the risk of essentially waiving garbage for residents that are coming in that are bringing in waste from outside of Area H, and there is some risks there. I anticipate just doing a quick calculation on my calculator on my phone. It probably is going to range between, I think, 10 to 15, maybe 20,000, depending on the risks associated. But it's going to be in that sort of 10 to 15-ish thousand dollars is what I anticipate for cost on this.
Thank you for that. I have Director Acton online. Is it to the motion?
Yes.
Carry on, please.
I guess, or you could call point of order on me. Yeah, thank you. I do want it to be simple, but it would be nice to include South Cowichan. That most of the residents are feeling the exact same way as Director Martman's residents, plus a little extra sensitive, I think. So, you know, if we could find a solution that would be suitable for all areas, that would be great, considering that this is a large portion of the population who are major funders in it. And maybe, and not necessarily being brought along because they all wanted to. So, I think the nature of the motion, original direction to staff was a goodwill for South Cowichan and Area H. So I would really like to see something for all areas because they are equally affected, and the cost burdens are real for many people. So thank you.
Thank you for that. And at the completion of this motion, any director from that area is more than welcome to bring forward a following resolution and motion that we can discuss at that time. I think we're looking at a specific one to Area H now, as they are not accommodated with pickup service currently. So that was the thought of separating it out. But there could be a possibility of a future motion after this one is discussed. I'll turn to Director Wilson on this motion, or shall I just leave you in the queue? Director Mackay?
Thank you. And speaking only to the motion, which is Area H, I can only support this, I think, if it is for a voucher system. And the reason I say that is the clear message we're getting from staff that that is the preferred way of doing it. And since the burden of exercising this whole thing will be on staff, I think it's appropriate that we take their direction into strong consideration. However, if it is going to be honor system, I won't be able to support it.
Thank you for that. I'll turn to you, Director Martman.
Thank you. I guess I worry about timing, but I would leave it to staff. I'll be open to amendment to change it from a household garbage tipping fee, but I would want the vouchers to be limited within that time frame as well. Just like, I think the whole purpose of it is to try to accommodate some kind of goodwill gesture between now and June. So that's the point of this motion. So if someone wanted to make that amendment, I would be pleased to support that.
I think as the mover, I would look to you to make that amendment, to include the language of vouchers in there.
Okay. So I do have both motions written down because I didn't know
Well,
which
why
way to
don't
go.
we,
Yeah.
why don't we deal with the first
Okay,
one? We
all
can
right.
defeat it and you can bring the other one forward.
Or if
Or if you
Legislative
want to amend
Services
it,
says,
you
because
most
it's
certainly
it's
can.
just one section of it, where that vouchers, or I would say, given the time
Before you
frame-
carry on, I'm
Yep.
just going to
Yep.
turn to our,
Yep.
So I'm not sure if Director Martman is proposing an amendment to his motion.
Yep.
Okay, and so this is the proposed amendment to your,
Yeah, the amendment would change the first portion of the motion. Basically, it would say that 2 vouchers for household garbage tipping fees up to 32 kilograms, and the rest of it remains the same. It would remove the idea of this sort of honor system on household garbage tipping. So I could read it in full if you like.
please
But
do.
if I don't know if that's an amendment of it or you prefer to, Mr. Robbins?
I think that changes the intent of the motion, in my opinion, but
I'm not sure that's a friendly amendment.
Okay, so
By the mover and the
I'd be
seconder.
willing to make another motion if this one is defeated, and that would go to the voucher system.
So you can propose the amendment, is which
Okay, yeah,
get a seconder.
okay.
it's been moved and
And-
seconded.
Speak to the amendment, of any discussion on the amendment, and then go to the main motion as amended.
Okay, so basically what I would be saying is that the motion would in entirety be that 2 vouchers for household tipping fees up to 32 kilograms be distributed to households in Area H, and any added cost to function 520 be reimbursed from 515. So basically, it's limiting it to 2 household tipping fees. And I would go further, and I'll leave this to staff, speaking to, if I have a seconder for that amendment. If I speak to that, I do believe there should be an expiry date on these vouchers. So, if they want to put an expiry date of June 30th, that way that these vouchers are now deemed null and void for any kind of risk and follow-up.
The only problem I have, there is no mention of the vouchers in your motion.
Okay.
So if that was added, 2 vouchers per whatever,
Household garbage, yeah.
but there's no two vouchers per month, 2
No.
vouchers
Per household, it says. Per
over
household,
from,
per household for the whole
for
period.
the whole period?
Whole period.
Okay. No, that's clear now. Thanks for the clarification. So, just so we're all on the same page, it's 2 vouchers per household for Area H, up to 32 kilograms of waste in a voucher system. And the seconder's good with that? Do we have any further discussion on this? Director Wilson?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. It is getting more and more complicated. And if I'm reading the report right, just to get the vouchers printed and put out there is going to cost a huge amount of money. I would much rather go with the original intent here that Director Martman had brought forward, which is an honour system, because we're all basically honest. You know, what's wrong here with saying, I live here, here is my garbage? Do we really want to go down the road of printing more and checking this and checking that? I won't be supporting the voucher idea.
Okay, thank you for that. Any further discussion? I see Director Mackay.
Sorry, I just want clarification. So that the 32 kilograms is the typical tipping, and that would be equivalent to one, in a regular kind of program, 1 week, 2-week period? Is that accurate? In say when we get our garbage picked up, is that what the weight is supposed to be? Am I understanding that correctly? You would get your solid waste picked up every 2 weeks?
So through the chair, 32 kilograms represents if you brought your waste into one of our recycling waste sites across the scale, if you had 32 kilograms, any amount up to 32 kilograms, you would be charged a minimum charge of $7.
Okay.
And so this would allow that equivalency of $7 to be, by using the voucher or coming in on the honor system, that amount would be reduced from the overall bill that somebody would receive on the way out of the scale.
Follow up?
Yeah, I just was assuming it would be more than 2 over the course of the period that we're talking about. That's why I'm questioning why it's just 2 as opposed to, say, 4 for 1 per month of the whole system.
I think what I'm looking at is that for Area H, typically we go to Peerless once a month. So if you have 2 vouchers, you might get 2 trips in the time period that it's going to be available. Like, yeah, that's it. I think it's a goodwill gesture. It's not going to meet everybody's needs, but it's not going to make everybody happy, but it'll at least give a goodwill gesture. And I think it doesn't add to costs by adding more vouchers into the system. So, yeah, I don't know how staff want to respond. I'm sort of, yeah, because the time frame will be about 6 weeks or ish.
Are you good with that? I'll move to Director Caliu.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Mooney, I'm just wondering, how much does it cost to actually print off these vouchers that would be handed out?
Thanks through the chair to the director. I believe staff did work out some costs associated with the entirety of a voucher. The vouchers being issued across the region. I'm not sure the cost per voucher. It probably would depend on the quantity of vouchers. But we have calculators.
Got the calculator going. If you give us just a second, we're not going to finance. We're going to solid waste for that financial answer.
Feel the pressure.
Right? Everybody stare.
No pressure.
Well, I mean, it's going to be... Sorry, so just to give you an idea, for 8,420 households, considering everyone, the printing is estimated at $3,500, so it will be significantly less. And if you then have, a system where residents come and pick them up, then, there's no need to mail them out, which again, postage is $1.20 now. So that's another consideration.
Follow up, sir?
Thank you, yeah. It just seems to me that printing a few vouchers, the cost doesn't seem to be that high to me. I mean, it looks to me like it could be pretty easily done. And, I just think the voucher system would make it easier for the people who are working at the gate of the Peerless Road facility or the Bings Creek, that, dealing with people, not having to ask them questions and that kind of thing. It just makes it a lot less onerous on the people that are accepting the vouchers.
Thank you. Director Ishdash.
Thank you, Chair. Really quick, I possibly think I'm just sharing the information from the report, why I would support the voucher and only one per month, where Director Martman is going to what Director McKay was saying is, I think the number you were looking for is the average pickup every 2 weeks is only 8 kilograms. So the average pickup in a month is 16 kilograms. And, I think once a month is plenty. I would also encourage people to be more mindful on their recycling, which is a free service.
Good plug. I think our legislative services assistant to me would like to have some input.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just trying to resolve the initial motion that was duly moved and seconded, and then the amendment which amends the original motion significantly to change it so that the intent of the original no longer exists. And I'm just trying to see if there's a way out of this with which to have the mover withdraw the first, and then I can provide what I believe is the motion, keeping in mind, I think that I'm not sure that our rules will allow you to, because you've had this great discussion about the original motion and the amendment. But I have, and I believe what I've captured here in terms of a motion, and is that 2 vouchers be issued to Area H households for up to 32 kilograms of waste for drop-off at the Peerless facility, and cost to $5.20 be reimbursed by $5.15. Is that correct?
With the expiry of June 1, 2025.
With the
June 2.
vouchers
June
expiring
30th.
June 30th, 2025.
We'll get this.
And so I'm going to just advise, and you can call the chair out of order, not me, because I'm just an advisor, that it is okay to withdraw the original motion and the amendment and move the one that I've just read out.
Can you give me the page of Robert's Rules of Order that would make me accommodate that? So if the mover is willing to withdraw that motion, we will consider the second one. Mr. Martman.
Mr. Martman. And I guess I think about this, about the impact to staff. I mean, there's so many things you weigh when you make a decision. So yes, I'm weighing all those things. And yes, I would withdraw the motion.
Thank you. So that motion is withdrawn, and you would then consider moving the motion as read by Mr. Robbins?
Yes, I would, and I'd appreciate it if a seconder, and love to wrap this up.
So let's have it read back one more time so we're very clear on where we're going this time.
That 2 vouchers expiring June 30th, 2025 be issued to Area H households for up to 32 kilograms of waste for drop-off at the Peerless facility, and cost to $5.20 for such a voucher program be reimbursed by $5.15.
So we're clear on that, staff?
I just want to make sure I got it. So we're talking $32K per voucher, so a total of 64 that you give it. Okay, just want to make sure. Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion on this? Director Acton, to this motion? Or future?
Thank you. Yes. So I really hate making a decision without actually knowing the financial cost. So we could be giving people a $7 credit that costs us $20 to produce when you bring in staff, printing and everything. So this, I'm really struggling with this motion and for the fact that it's only area H. And this whole discussion was meant for A, B, C, and H for yes, goodwill. So, but the route this has gone is so complicated, costly, time consuming. I think, like, why aren't we just taking $20 off the bill of everyone who's receiving the garbage service for the first time? Like, this is, has turned into insanity in my mind. But anyway, to me, it would be a lot easier to take $20 off the bill than to produce the vouchers for Area H. And then now we're going to try and come up with some kind of solution for A, B, and C, because A, B, and C are in the same predicament. And what? We only do things for one very small part of the population.
And as I
So-
said before, Director Acton, you
Yes,
can
I'm
make
just
a
talking-
motion after this one is done. I
Okay,
really,
so I'm not making a motion right now. I'd like to know, how much is this motion gonna cost per unit? Like, before we had the costs in front of us, but now we've just taken one small part out of it. So what is it actually gonna cost? It's like implementing the GST. It cost more to implement it than was being received. So what's the case for this one?
anything on that, ma'am?
Yeah, sure. So the printing cost is estimated at $465. The voucher program itself, so providing 2 vouchers for 1,124 households, is estimated at $15,700 roughly.
So you're looking at approximately $15,450.
Yeah, 16,100-ish. Yeah.
Okay.
Does that include staff time?
That does not include staff time. But yeah, as we said, there would be a lot less staff time with vouchers.
$16,000. So excuse me, sorry, for how many households?
1,124, so 1,124 households.
So that's $14.25 each voucher.
So each voucher is $7. So and they're getting
But that's
2.
the cost. Yeah, so the cost to provide, I added the $16,000 divided by the number of households is $14.23.
And there's 2 vouchers.
And printing cost.
And printing costs. Okay, thank you.
Okay for that? Director Wilson?
I will withdraw because the questions have been asked and we worked out the numbers over here as well.
Okay, are we ready for the question? I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Keep your hands raised. Director Morrison, Director Mackay,
Really slowly for this guy. Morrison.
Mackay, Wilson, Callio, Ishdash, Douglas, Martman, McGonigal. And those opposed, Director Deck, Director Acton, Alternate Director Salmon. That motion carries. And now would be the opportunity to look at the other areas that were mentioned in the original one, should someone decide to put that forward. Director Acton.
Yes, I would like to discuss some fairness here of reducing the bills for A, B, and C. Since there is no CBRD equivalent transfer station for A, B, and C. We have a private one.
And what sort of avenue are you looking to accommodate that? Just trying to get a motion on the floor that we could have a seconder or something that we could discuss.
Well, if we want to say goodwill, I would say $20 off of the $345 for areas A, B, and C.
Unfortunately, I don't think that is something that we accommodate at this time, given that we have already implemented the funding of that function at a set amount, and a reduction of that would have to be expanded to the remaining people within the service area. So that would change. And I'm getting a nod from the financial officer, so apparently I'm on the right track. Ms. Bowen, would you like to speak to that?
I will try my best. Through the chair, so to Director Acton, the budget has been set and approved at a certain level and expenses all covered on that. So to take this out, I'm not sure how many households are in that area for those 3 areas on how much that would be to come out of their budget. And they just don't have the room for that reduction in this year.
And I know we're looking at trying to look at fairness, and the voucher system within Area H was an avenue that could be afforded to do that. If there was a similar desire to look at some sort of option similar in the South Cowichan area, that would be something that could be accommodated, I would think, at some level, but not within the private entity that provides you the service. So unfortunately...
Mr. Chair, could I just ask for staff to come back with an option based on your comments for A, B, and C?
You most certainly could. So you're directing staff to come back with some solutions within the South Cowichan area to accommodate fairness as described in the discussion?
Yes, thank you.
Do I have a seconder for that? Moved and seconded. And I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Okay. I got Director Morrison.
Thank you, Chair. Given all of the discussion that we've had today, and the intent of the report clearly took on, or maybe our reaction to the report took on a little different tone for me this morning. Given all of the discussion that we've had and a desire to have staff focus on the implementation of this new service, I felt compelled to side with the residents of Area H that are going from no service to full service and a transition period, but I'm unable to go there based on all of the conversations that we've had today. And I wouldn't be supporting having staff doing any further work on this for the areas mentioned.
Appreciate that. Any further discussion from other directors on this? So it was directing staff to come back with possible solutions for the South Cowichan area, similar to what was discussed for Area H. Is that correct, Director Acton? I get a nod. That means yes. And the seconder is okay with that? I'm going to call the question. All in favor? I have, please keep your hands up. Director Martman, Director Douglas, Director Caliu, Director Wilson, and Director Acton are in favor. Hands up again, please. Director Martman, Director Douglas, Director Caliu, Director Wilson, and Director Acton. Those opposed, if you can keep your hands up, please. Certainly can. Director Morrison, Director Mackay, Director Ishdash, Director Deck, Alternate Director Salmon are opposed.
This is a one director, one vote. The motion is defeated in a tie vote. That's what I have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 5 yeas and 5 nays.
On a tie vote, that motion is defeated. And I believe that concludes our business today, except for,
I'm sorry, I didn't have Director. My apologies, that motion passes.
that motion passes by 6-5.
I thought I had missed. No, there's only 10. My apologies for the confusion. It is defeated in a tie vote. Pardon me?
I did not vote, so I'm in the affirmative.
Yes. There's an extra somewhere, right?
No. So
Just verifying the tally. I did not vote, so.
not here, not here. Director Nicholson, how did you vote?
Director Nicholson is not here. She had
Oh,
to
she's not here.
leave.
Oh, she had to leave. Okay, my apologies. The motion did carry, 6-5.
So it's 6-5, and we will look for that to come back. Sorry, staff, but we've given you some more work, which is fine. They shaking their head, yes. They're glad to do it. So again, I want to thank you all for a very wholesome discussion today. And we will move to question period. I don't see anyone online or in the gallery, but there was a gentleman who was online for questions earlier, and our Director Abbott has forwarded those questions to myself and Legislative Services. I just want to assure Mr. Gunn that these will be directed to staff and the answers will be accommodated through them to you at an appropriate time in the near future. So I'll leave that with Legislative Services and the affected functions to answer those questions. With that,
A motion to adjourn, Chair.
do I have a motion to adjourn? I think we did rise with
did at the
report
beginning
at
of
the
the meeting.
beginning.
We rose and report on the 2 items at the beginning of the meeting. Yes,
At the beginning of the reopening of the open session, we did rise with report on the 2 items as mentioned by Mr. Robbins.
CSSR 1, CSSR 4.
CSSR 1 and CSSR 4. With that, all in favor of adjournment? Against? Motion carries. Thank you again.